Hey, Nathaniel, so good to meet you, my man. For people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me, Yannick. I'm Nathaneal. I am a ghostwriter from X. Technically, I'm a content creator. I create content on X, on YouTube and on LinkedIn. But my offer is ghostwriting, and I grew from 100 followers Twitter to 2,200-ish now in a span of 3 to 4 months. So that's
Nice.
me.
Very good, very good. And so let's rewind the clock a little bit. What was the first time you went to Twitter? How did you end up here?
Right. So it was December actually. The start was December before New Year, when we're all pumped up. Yeah, self-improvement, New Year's resolution. So it's like I was scrolling through YouTube looking for books to read for 2024, and I just stumbled across Ali Abdaal's video of what to read, and he talked about The Art and Business of Online Writing by Nicholas Cole. And so I read that. I thought I was kind of hesitant in the beginning, but then when I started reading it, I just finished it in 3 days. So it's a good book. And then January, I started writing on Quora, actually, just to put my name, just to get comfortable writing online, because I've never written online. I followed Nicholas Cole's path, and then I started posting the content that I had on Quora in Twitter at around February 19. And it just blew off. After 30 days, I went from 100 followers, which were my friends, just people who I was already connected in Twitter with. I've had Twitter since 2016, before it was named X. And I just grew from 100 to 700 in a month. And then that's when I thought, okay, we got to go all in, as I saw the potential. And everything just snowballed from there. Didn't even think of monetization, but stumbled across people who talked about ghostwriting, copywriting, and everything went well. So here I am.
Cool. And so, okay, your first 100 followers, mostly friends and family.
Yeah.
What were your first steps with those 100 people, and what was your content creation plan look like? How did that go?
Right. So really, before Twitter, I didn't even use it. There was this game, I forgot what it's called, but it's a first shooter game. And I just posted my wins because you would get more coins if you posted it on Twitter. So that's why I created Twitter. And I didn't do anything. That's why I had only 100 followers. But really, what I did was just post the answers that I had in Quora, just random stuff like lessons. I remember the most viral thing that happened in the beginning was something about dating girls. Because there was a question in Quora about how do you find the perfect girl, and I answered something like, instead of looking for the perfect girl, you should be building yourself up to be the perfect man for the girl for you, something like that. So really just advice that I saw, questions that I saw in Quora, I answered them and posted them on Twitter. And then after I saw the potential, I kind of just wrote for myself, more of there's this thing Nicholas Cole talks about, 2-year test, where you kind of talk to yourself from 2 years ago. So I just gave advice to myself 2 years ago, and it resonated even to people who are grown-ups, not 30 years old plus, because I talk about failure and things like that. And then, it just became more advanced because I learned about copywriting and writing to someone and persuasive writing, things like that. And now, I kind of I'm a copywriter / ghostwriter. Yeah.
Cool. And so, okay, you started answering those core questions. It resonated with people, but did you swirl around in different niches, or did you immediately go to more that advice to your younger self, or how did that go? And did you base that on how much engagement you got, or how interested you were in a topic? Or
I never really measured, because they talk about how you should double down on your great content. I never really did that. I just genuinely wrote. In the beginning, I wrote for myself and what I wanted to write about. and it just so happened that a lot of people resonated with it. But when I started like doing, in a way, copywriting, my first niche was personal branding, because that's kind of like what I was doing. And so I thought, like, if I'm doing personal branding, then I can talk about personal branding, apply the things that I learn from reading books and watching videos and, you know, doing courses. I can just write about those things and talk about what I learned at those moments. And yeah, it turned out well. It turns out that not a lot of people are just the same in Twitter. Like, it's not, you know, everyone cares about personal branding. That's what I discovered. Like, when I post about personal branding, kind of everyone just interacts with it, even if you're in tech, even if you're in like whatever niche you are. That's kind of how I got into this space.
We're all nerds who are interested in personal branding.
Yeah,
and
we all just love that.
And some of us don't even have a radio face, so that's awesome. It just clicked. But you also said, you know, you start writing on Quora just to get a little bit of reps in. Did you have any other writing experience before that? Because how long did you write on Quora?
Right. So I have always been a writer. I used to compete in my school back in elementary, like when I was 10, 12 years old, 10, 12, 14, something like that. I was doing news writing. There's a competition here in the Philippines. It's called National Press Conference. That's the highest part, National Press Conference, National Schools Plus Press Conference. I never participated in the highest level, but I participated in the middle level. I've always had a knack for writing, but I never really took it seriously. It was just, you know, my school was saying, oh, there's extracurricular, so I would just do it. But during the pandemic, I went deep into journaling because, you know, it was pandemic and we didn't really have anything to do. I think a lot of people would resonate with that, you know, like exploring themselves during the pandemic, doing meditation, self-improvement, things like that. So that's when I really went deep into journaling and really discovering myself, my beliefs, my values. And I think that's why I easily got into online writing and personal branding, because all that time from 2020 until this year, 2024, I've always journaled. And now basically Twitter is my public journal. I don't journal anymore that much. I journal, you know, just a little bit, but whenever I have a problem, I kind of talk about it more on Twitter now. So yeah, I've always been I've always reflected on the things in my life, my problems, my childhood, and that's why it's easy for me now to write about those things.
Some people think, you know, I can do this. Like if I do this 5 minutes a day, this Twitter thing, I'm gonna make it big. But I think a lot of people underestimate that you do need to put in the reps before you really can start writing well for Twitter or any online platform, I would say. And if you don't enjoy reading a lot, if you don't enjoy writing, I don't think Twitter is the platform for you. So you've now grown your account, you're a couple thousand followers in, but you're also, on your bio it says you're a ghostwriter. How did you follow that path, and how did you get your first client?
Right. So I'm gonna be honest, this whole Twitter thing for me is like just an accident. Every part of it. Stumbling across Twitter was an accident. I didn't mean to go to Twitter. I was in Quora. That was my intention, and I just literally reposted the things. It just happened that Twitter worked well, so I doubled down on it. And then while I was in Twitter and I was, engaging more and exploring more of that space, I just met a lot of people. And there's this space in Twitter called Money X, where a lot of people kind of like make money off of Twitter. I met a couple of people there. I was invited by Jack Moses. Jack Moses, one big creator from Twitter as well. He has like 28,000 followers, if not mistaken, maybe more now. He invited me to his cohort, and I looked at his bio. I looked at his story, And his story was that he was a college kid and then he dropped out of college and then he became a creator, became successful there. And that was me because I was a night shifter. So I worked from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. and I was doing college. So I only had like 4 hours of sleep for a year then. Like I was like in a bad place in a way. Like I didn't like my life, even though, you know, I was on the path to success. I didn't really like where I was. And when I saw his transformation, I was like, man, I'm gonna learn something from this guy. So I joined this cohort. That was my first investment. No, my first investment was Dan Ko's 2-hour writer course, but it was really more like, you know, this $150. It was just to introduce yourself to writing. Jack Moses was like the big investment that I made working with him. So he talked about how, you know, the traditional path, or at least a well-known path to Twitter monetization, is you learn a skill, you do freelancing, and then you do coaching, you do cohorts, and then you do courses. That's kind of like how normally people do it, or that's how he did it at least. And so since I was introduced to the space by Nicholas Cole, Art and Business of Online Writing, I already trusted him. So when I saw that he was offering ghostwriting, you know, premium ghostwriting academy, I just signed up. I didn't know his price at that time. I was kind of caught off guard, but I kind of decided to like go all in. So even if it was quite some like high price, I put all in there. And so basically I had like so many things going on. I just invested a lot. And yeah, I just wanted to make it work. I just really wanted to make Twitter work. And yeah, that's it. Like it just was kind of like a step by step. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just following everything. Like I just was following the advice of people I trusted. And when it comes to the client, what's funny is that that client was just happened to be in my network when I was doing Twitter for fun. So remember, like in the first 2 months of my writing journey, I was just writing in Twitter without thought of monetization. But then when I started giving off the offer, because I built such a foundation in the first 2 months where I kind of was just like talking to everyone and like, you know, being friendly to everyone. When I launched the offer and like gave it to people who I knew, just happened to be that this guy was interested and we closed a deal. After a few negotiations, we closed a deal. And yeah, that's my first client. And then everything just like went uphill from there. So yeah, it's kind of like just an accident too, a lot of luck.
So, but did he reach out to you or did you reach out to him? And how did you like structure the offer? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right. So I was just DMing people who I knew, who I thought, actually I DM'd people asking them if they knew someone who would be interested. So I just like DM'd everyone. I think I was 700 followers at that time, or 1,000 followers. I was still not too big. I was like getting into to the big guys place. And I just DM'd everyone in my DMs already. So people who have already interacted with, I just asked them, do you know anyone who's interested in an educational email course? That's what I offer, educational email course. I'd be happy to give you more information or send send a free presentation. I think that's what I said. And then if you know anyone, please let me know. I'd be happy to return the favor in your future endeavors as well. That's what I told them. And I just basically kind of spammed it, but more personalized. So it'll be like, kind of alter it. Hey, blank, how is your dog? If I knew that he had a dog, and then just tell him the spell after that. And yeah, just a couple of people replied. Not all of them replied. And that just happened that guy was really interested. And we hopped on a call, and then it turned out well. And I signed him, and yeah, it was just mind-blowing.
Nice. That's cool. And so what did you offer actually? Because you started with like the educational email, but you were doing ghostwriting work for him or not?
This is based on PJ. It's kind of like when you say educational email course, it is also ghostwriting because it's his product still. You know, it's not really a product, it's his product. So it's his personal brand's product. To make the offer more attractive to him, because he didn't have a lot of Twitter followers, I put in social media ghostwriting there as well. So I didn't, originally my offer was just educational email courses, but I added in the social media writing as well to also build traffic, so that when we launch the educational email course, a lot of people will be able to see it. So what happened there was I just kind of built this grand slam offer where I basically did all the ghostwriting duties for him. I also fixed his sales page, everything, his website. So I fixed the copy there. I made him an educational email course, which will funnel them down to his newsletter. I wrote daily tweets for him that is guaranteed to like get the targeted customers. And yeah, that's how my offer emerged, just a little bit of experimentation.
And for your content creation, do you ever use something like ChatGPT for your own tweets or for your clients? Or
Right. I do use ChatGPT for research, market research. So I asked him, I'm writing this tweet for my CEOs and managers, and then what kind of language can I use to make it appealing to them? So it's more like a research based, because I find that when I make ChatGPT write, it's just, even if I train him, I did try to like make prompts, it still doesn't encapsulate what I want, because
still pretty shit.
yeah, it's still pretty crap. My writing style is really kind of like storytelling, where I don't say how to. So, because that's what ChatGPT does. Like he teaches you how to. I'm like how I. So I talk about my experiences, and he can't get that. So I just get the ideas from him and then write myself.
All right. And so, last question: if somebody starts on X, on Twitter today, what would be your advice for him? If he wants to like build an audience and monetize it.
I would say 3 things. Of course, build the skill, like build the writing skill. And honestly, the writing skill, it just comes down to consistency. I know a lot of peers that I have who started X the same time as me, but didn't make it because they couldn't post consistently. They couldn't like show up consistently. Getting better will come over time. I believe that if you just show up consistently and you engage, actually, you read other posts, you kind of unconsciously learn what works. Because when you read a viral post, you will kind of like, this is interesting. Why did this work? And then you just unconsciously like get the format or their ideas, how they present it. So consistency. Next big thing for me is networking, like making friends. Because
How do you do that?
I have this quote. It's from Kieran Drew. He said, "Post like a pro, comment like a bro." So my posts are like, I put work on them and I make them as professional, or I make them as good as possible. But when I comment, I'm an idiot. I make fun. So for example, like when someone's super serious on what he's talking about, I just flirt with them in the comments to make it funny. That's how I got a lot of friends who are 250K plus creators. They hopped on my podcast and all that. I became friends with them just because I was an idiot in their comments. So
Very nice.
Being friendly.
And what is an idiot in the comments? What would you say, for example?
So let's say someone says, this is how you grow on X, and then they lay out like a list. I'd probably say something like, growing on X doesn't mean anything if I don't grow with you. Something like that. Like I would like talk to that person, kind of flirt with them. Just something that would get their attention, like something really not talking about the content, but talking to the person. That's what I would say. And then when you get the funny interaction, that's when there's a green light to slide in the DMs, because you've had that funny interaction. Skill, work ethic goes down to work ethic, and then network. And then probably the last one is just learning, like trying to, I never finish a day without reading a book. Like I always read like even just 10 minutes. Right now, I'm reading a lot of things. Right now, I'm trying to become more of an expert in my craft in ghostwriting. So I'm reading How to Win Without the Pitch or something. Winning Without the Pitch, I think that's what it's called. It's a great book. So yeah, learning, consistency, networking, and learning. That's what I would say.
Nathaneal, thank you so much for your time, man. Where can people find you?
You can find me in all platforms at Nathaneal. So it's kind of weird spelling, but at Nathan and then EALGLGZ. So that's at Nathaneal GLGZ.
Cool, man. Thanks.
That's awesome.